Hello, my name is Grumpy. Grumpy eye. Grumpy. Grumpy eye. Grumpy. Grumpy eye.
But yeah, this is the Inside Star Citizen 150. I don't know what like 150 means, but yeah, let's see.
As the first quarter of 2023 comes to a close, we're hitting a few milestones here for what we call internally
Please,
the
4K,
Evergreen
thank you.
Content Team. That's the folks that are dedicated to the creation of weekly, recurring, some might say evergreen video content. For Inside Star Citizen, today's show represents the completion of our 4th year and 150th episode since that first evolution from Around the Verse in 2019. And when you factor in the legacy of ATV and Wingman's Hangar before that, we're now just passing the 450th episode of this continuing behind-the-scenes series unlike anything you'll find from any game developer anywhere else. And yet, somehow, still we never show anything good.
I mean, that's not true, but also I'm the one that complains a lot, and I have been complaining for a year and a bit more than a year because we only had 317 and they made ISCs over and over again about like some things that are not important or that are not going to happen anytime soon. So yeah.
It also marks the personal completion for me of 8 years shepherding over 1,200 videos showcasing the creation of this project. Even that one holiday live stream we don't like to talk about anymore. So, to sign us off for this quarter, before we go about our regularly scheduled hiatus, we're bringing back an old favorite, that grab bag of tiny looks at various aspects from all over development, the Sprint Report.
Yay.
Now, for those of you who maybe have never seen one of these before, a sprint is what we call the internal 2-week cadence where developers go off on a task, come back to check in, see everyone's progress, get some notes, and then either move on to something else or go back for another 2-week sprint on the same feature. So, what that means is what you're going to see here this week is actually internal developer art, the kind they don't usually make to be seen publicly. It's not the flashy and somewhat mentally unstable work of the ISC gameplay capture team, who have been on quite a streak recently, possibly because we changed their medications. So without further ado, let's jump into the Inside
they have been weird for a while now.
Star Citizen Quarter 1 2023 Sprint Report and Clam Bake Showdown. I'm assuming that editorial will put a nice, subtle title on screen right here. Also, there's no Clam Bake Showdown. I don't know why I said that. Let's start things off with some spacecraft and vehicles, where there was recently a small onboarding task for a new hire to update the remote turrets for the 600i from Origin, which you can see here. I think we can all agree it's a noticeable improvement over what's in the game.
So what, a new hire has done some concept art for the turrets
today.
Okay.
And if you watched
not really a good start.
week's ISC on the upcoming changes to tractor beams and Alpha 319 and beyond, you might have noticed the Argo SRV flying around in that Beyond section.
Not gonna lie, the SRV was in this state almost like 6 months ago.
Here's a closer look at its progress as it currently makes its way through final art towards a scheduled release later this year. Now, for those who follow the progress tracker on the public roadmap,
this is
here
the
are
links.
your first looks at 3 vehicles currently making their journeys.
It actually says on the tires that it's the links.
Here are your first looks at 3 vehicles currently making their journeys through.
Is it gonna be luxury? These are old pictures, aren't they? I don't fucking know. But is this gonna be a luxury like
throughout the pipeline? Starting with the RSI Lynx rover.
I really
companion
wanted the
sojourner
Lynx to be
the
something
famous
completely
Ursa
different.
we all know and love. An often found package with the luxurious Constellation Phoenix. It's currently in gray box phase, and it's nice to see the RSI styling continue to evolve. Especially with those tires. I mean, I'm not usually a tires are cool dude, but those are cool tires, right? And as we move inside, we can take a look at the cockpit coming along. And then there's the rear, which is at the back, and which is already far more fancy than its
And then there's the rear, which is at the back.
Brethren. Okay, I thought the tires were cool, but can a chair also be cool? Because that looks like a comfy ass chair. Can I say that? No, I just edited it out.
I mean, what's the gameplay behind this? Yeah, it's Ursa 2. No, it's not even 2.0. I mean, what's the point in having this? Oh, I'm gonna have a luxury rover while I'm like going over terrain on Daymar. What is the gameplay behind this?
Good job. There's also the Crusader Spirit, which just entered Greybox phase recently. You can see here early work on the exterior.
I would have thought that it was in Greybox for a while now because they took off, they took the Legionnaire off the progress tracker because of the A1, C1, and the whatever E1. But okay,
Exterior, making certain every part of it matches the metrics laid out in the
it's
white
so
box
flat,
phase
it's a pancake.
before it. Then popping in through the rear of the ship, which, like the Lynx, is also in the back. And then into the cockpit that's looking, well, a bit contrasty at the moment. But that's not uncommon for Greybox phase, as this period is mostly about defining shape language and material breakup before everything gets refined later in final art phase. And then let's take a look at the Greybox bomb bay for the bomber variant that's being worked on in tandem with all the others.
Is this a 3D model or is this... This looks like the 3D model. Hopefully it is. Hopefully it's not just like concept art.
And later in final art phase. And then let's take a look at the Greybox bomb bay for the bomber variant that's being worked on in tandem with all the others. Finally, let's look at recent Greybox progress on the Apoa Santok Yai, the alien Shion fighter, where you can see the exterior coming along pretty well.
The color itself makes it look like a bug even more, like a fly.
The thrusters are being modeled out.
Oh no, it is a fly. Never mind.
And they've started exploring how the landing gear will work, experimenting with the shape language a bit to make certain they're beefy enough to believably hold the mass of this entire ship when all is said and done. And as for when you're going to see the 600i turret, the Lynx, the SRV, the Spirit, the Santok Yai, and more make their way into the persistent universe, I'd recommend as always keeping an eye on the public roadmap for details when they become available. Now let's move from ships that fly to winged creatures. As astute readers of the monthly report might already be aware, one of the many things the AI team is currently working on is pushing Boyd's development in the persistent universe.
Boyd's.
Now,
nice.
Boyds are the algorithmic behavior of small creatures that can populate the planets and moons of the persistent universe, with a test here of condors slowly learning to avoid flying into mountains or
from what I know, you will not be able to interact with the Boyds. Maybe you can like make them disperse or whatever, but they're there just to like help with the immersion, I guess, like populate the surface a bit more.
Drowning in the oceans beneath them. Dun 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 Condor Man.
Okay, Jared.
Nobody, huh? Just me?
Nobody. No.
And then some work on ocean fish. Here, completely, totally, and utterly unanimated. It's just a test of behaviors here, people, without all the motion parameters that'll make them look good one day.
They are reacting like Pong. Like in Pong, they just like bounce off of the surface and then probably the
Now,
ground.
I'm including this as a test. If I see all you out there on the internet's like, these Star Citizen fish look great, I'm gonna know you don't listen to a word I'm saying.
Boys are like VFX, yeah.
Dang. My feelings will be hurt. Meanwhile, the Interactables team, formerly known as the Props team, have been running through and physicalizing a bunch of assets for the persistent universe, like these weights for gyms like the ones you might find in New Babbage.
Are you fucking serious? Why?
Similar to the fish we just watched, this is also before animation has had their chance to contribute, so let's not judge the throwing form being displayed here. Still, it's nice to see even the littlest things in the verse behave naturally with realistic mass and physics whenever possible.
Realistic mass and physics are not going to happen on like 12 ticks per second servers, honestly. And the physics has been broken in this game for a while now, probably because of the servers. But like, why? This is the new coffee shop vendor.
Possible. This effort to make things behave as you'd expect them to also extends to the coffee machines of the verse, with a pass recently done to go through and repair their broken functionality. Now, I did
Broken functionality. Okay, so they were broken for a while, I guess. I have never seen this. Is this like in a 300i? Because I've heard that some people had like coffee machines inside their 300i's.
consider turning this section into an update on either bartender or mess hall features, just for old time's sake. But someone who will go unnamed stopped me. Just know that there are heroes out there looking out for each and every one of you. Also, it looks like the team developed a few new coffee mugs along the way. We'll just let this video play for a bit.
Okay.
See a couple coffee cups in action, and think about how much bartender stuff I'm not talking about right now. Also, speaking of bartenders, if you want some interactables of your own, there's this new set of Star Citizen pint glasses up for pre-order on the web store. I asked if they wanted me to promote them, and they said no, because you'll probably do something silly and stupid with it. And I said, leave it with me. And they said, what? No, we said no. And I said, no problem. And here we are.
How much are they? Are they like $50 per piece? Or...
Problem. And here we are.
Did you guys see the April Fool's joke that they had? Let me find it. I think Scarred sent me one the link to it. Let me find it. I'm just gonna waste your time here, but no, I can't find it. Scarred, could you please send me the thing in private? I just want to show the chat.
Back to the Interactables team, they've also been prototyping a new way to hang a variety of posters on the walls of the player habs and spacecraft with these new, expanding electronic devices that could let you decorate any space that's marked up for them.
So I saw a clip of this, and I was unsure. It had no sound, and it was on Reddit, and people said, "Oh, this is coming to like Star Citizen," and I was like, "Are you fucking serious? Why?"
With these new, expanding electronic devices that could let you decorate any space that's marked up for them.
Hawaii.
The prototyping here is using common adverts for in-universe events, but the possibilities of this feature become apparent very quickly in allowing players to not only decorate their spaces, but to collect and memorialize important moments from their time in the persisting universe, to take missions to set up flyers for in-game shops or events, post bulletins for bounty missions, and much.
Look, we need actual persistence and our own bases for this to work. But also, this is such a minor thing that like I wouldn't even mention it.
Much more. And this last bit is from both the Interactables and Mission Feature team, who have been developing the next dangerous new contraband to sweep its way through the persistent universe, grasping weevil eggs.
It's a reskin of something with a bit different stats. Okay.
Grasping weevil eggs. Is this what's?
Isn't Etam like this, but green? Or something like that. It doesn't matter, but it's basically a reskin. And it probably has different stats, and that's it.
The file name? Oh, no, that's what it is. Huh. Let's switch on over to the environment, planetary, and lighting team's work with these images of updated atmosphere progress for the planet Hurston, which adds a stronger layer of pollution.
All right, before we continue, this is what I was talking about. Thank you, Scarred. So this was the April 1st joke. Or April's Fools, whatever. So apparently, Cristiano Roberto is gonna release a new perfume, The Scent of the Stars, and you can buy it for $50 USD or $85 USD. This is a bit like this is 100 milliliters, and then you have a 27,000 USD bundle that you can get. And honestly, I love this. I love that they are recognizing how we see them and how how overpriced their shit is. But still, like, instead of changing that, they just make a joke about it and continue doing the same thing. But yeah, let's continue.
Much closer to the planet's surface that helps suck light out of the atmosphere, add a richer gradient, and really just makes the place seem dirtier overall, which we can expect to play very well with the upcoming Loreville 2.0 in Alpha 3.19, some of which you can see here. I'm just gonna let these images speak for themselves.
Oh, you can't buy it. Let me open it again. You can't buy it. Like when you click on buy, it's like a April Fool's. Guys, come on. So this is what happens. Yeah.
A bit.
Looks nice. Not gonna lie.
And we'll take a deeper look at how light, atmosphere, and the new cityscape all come together in Alpha 3.19 when ISC returns.
Although, okay, let me comment on this a bit more. I'm not sure about the clouds. These volumetric clouds are one of the... I don't want to be an asshole, but they are one of the worst that I've seen in a game. So even War Thunder, that's like an old-ass game, has volumetric clouds that look better than this, honestly. And I cannot pinpoint why is that and why they look so bad, because first of all, like, I'm not a game dev or like any sort of an engineer, but they just don't look real. They don't look nice. I don't know what it is.
And we'll take a deeper look at how light, atmosphere, and the new cityscape all come together in Alpha 3.19 when ISC returns from hiatus in just a few weeks.
They look like patches of smog, basically. And I guess it works for Loreville. I don't know. Like, even for Loreville, I would not say that they should look like that, honestly.
And while the atmosphere of Hurston is getting a little love, so too are the verdant forests of Microtech. As part of a greater overall overhaul we'll be discussing more of in the coming months, the forests of Microtech are receiving a performative refresh that will make the environment seem richer and denser visually, while providing more gameplay opportunities for cover during missions, racing,
frame rate
and
is
other
bad
activities
here.
galore.
They're getting like 20 frames per second.
The landing zone teams have also completed a sprint adding additional mission locations scattered around the planet Crusader in the style of resort hotels that can utilize overlays for pleasant, in-use active businesses, as well as those taken over by the ever-present and vile Ninetails.
Wait, who said because it's multiplayer, even he looks like AAA game, and you comparing it with one, and it requires a lot of networking and coordination to use those clouds for gameplay purposes. I'm not sure what you want to say, but I compared it to War Thunder, which is a multiplayer game, DCS, an old-ass game, multiplayer game. So, yeah.
Each new cluster is designed to be a procedural home for a variety of mission types, and looks to draw players out from Horizon and into the far corners of the gas giant.
Yeah, but smog doesn't really work in patches, right, Logos? And the smog should be only around the Loreville, and that's it. I don't know.
And down on the surface of Hurston, work is underway on an early white box phase of local law enforcement offices, a place for players to utilize the next evolution of bounty hunting gameplay we'll discuss more about later this year. To collect, or in this case, drop off the captured bodies of criminal outlaws collected by players. Now, the drop-off here is right up front, because in early test, it was getting kind of weird just...
Alright, so some gameplay. So now, later this year, when they talk about this, maybe your Hawk and your Cuddy Blue are actually going to have a gameplay purpose. And you're going to get those like criminals into your cryo chambers and just deliver them here. And that's going to be cool, honestly.
These of criminal outlaws collected by players. Now, the drop-off here is right up front, because in early
They've been
test,
talking about this
it was
for fucking
getting
years
kind of weird just walking through the hallways. pushing bodies deeper and deeper into the facility. Unless you're into that sort of thing. Moist Noodle. You can then also check out the bounty boards to collect new missions here, or go forward into the shop and resupply as needed.
Right. That's cool.
And there's an office for meetings, but who needs more of those in life?
But wait, do you need to land on
And
Lorville
then
every time? Is it gonna be only like planet size, or are we gonna get like? I guess we're only gonna get this on planets and not on stations.
Bring ourselves to the detention area, where a number of cells can vary from location to location. I suspect that many of you will be looking forward to spending your time anywhere else besides Kleischer.
Yeah, especially now that like people can't fucking leave Kleischer for like 2 weeks straight. So Grifter or Scarred Citizen here has a friend that can't leave prison for 2 weeks straight. He cannot interact with anything, and when somebody leads him outside, so like stops the fan so he can go outside, etc. Whenever he respawns back in Kleischer.
Even if it's just a jail and not a prison. Also in white boxes,
And there's
the
like much
pre-production
more
blockouts
people
for
like
a
that.
variety of building interior modules that will fit inside the towering skyscrapers of New Babbage on Microtech, being developed and tested in situ simultaneously to work out and discover anything developers might not have considered or recognized as necessary in the original mandate. The idea here is that once the player lands, they would enter this particular interior from the very top, encountering a lobby and expected
Okay.
elevators.
Elevators,
Then, after
great.
a brief trip down, emerge into a number of different interior modules, such as block of player apartments seen in the example here.
All right, that's nice. It's starting to look like the thing that they were promising, even though it's not finished yet, right? But maybe in a year or two,
Speaking of
we will
modular
get like
interiors,
most of
the
these things.
Montreal Tools team continues their work refining the very process used to make locations for the persistent universe, including several sprints on something called the PU Locations tool, a plugin that artists and designers can use to build and iterate.
Although, let me say this: you never know. This whole thing, everything that they showed us up until this point, could be something that they're just gonna ditch and do something else for a while.
Modular locations quickly for the various star systems of the persistent universe. What you're seeing here is the PU Locations tool fully integrated into the game editor, where this person has decided they wish to create a space clinic in Pyro. No doubt a location players will visit quite often in the lawless frontier that awaits. Next, let's cook the first module, which is the lobby and includes the relevant connectors necessary so that the player can traverse from one room to the other without falling through into the cold depths of space. It's important players feel safe in their space stations, at least from the environment art. Legal note, this does not extend to elevators, which are a unique curse upon players and developers alike. Next is what's called the Universal Room, which is
Okay.
a super fancy programmer term for hallway. They know it's true. We can even change the seed if we don't like that particular hallway and generate another and another, each one creating the various connectors needed for us to continue
But we
building.
know this already. That's how
And
the
then
space
some
stations
side
were built.
rooms, or in rare cases, a rear room, which is usually at the back. Some shops like the pharmacy. Oops, an assert. I'm going to leave that in there for solidarity with developer pain.
Okay.
Now let's go inside and start cooking some overlays, which is basically everything involved in the set decor that will further distinguish one space clinic from the next. Things are pretty generic at the moment, so we turn on our viz areas, check our tags, start the cook, and whoa, nice. We move forward. Looks like we forgot to cook a container. Easy enough. We're not going to put rooms here, so let's go ahead and start closing these connectors off. And then we can cook us up another overlay for this side room here. Nice. And this process is repeated in all subsequent rooms.
Not gonna lie, developing these tools was worth it for them because they can make stuff faster now. But there's always a but. There's always a huge ass but. Is it gonna give us a variety? I don't think it is, because they still need to create assets that are gonna populate all of this.
Rooms, and overall it's another terrific example of how game development is exponential and absolutely non-linear in progress. Now, as asset libraries are built and grown and tools are conceived and iterated on, the progress you can make at one point should be exceeded by the next, and overall becomes a continuing reminder that the struggle of what comes before is necessary and right to birth the improved technologies, efficiencies, and general effectivenesses of everything that comes next, including a new version that does everything you just saw in one click that recently became available to developers. And while we're talking new technologies, let's wrap things up this week with some work from the PU character art team, which had a small sprint working.
On the left side, it's the new light. What? Layer blend. Okay. And this is the old one.
To convert some of our older legacy assets to newer resources that have been developed over recent years, including Layer Blend V2 and the ability to spawn items with specific levels of wear and decay. So this means that not every version you find out in the verse is going to look exactly the same.
Oh, that's cool.
The team is also using the opportunity to discover more chances to further modularize existing armor.
This is really cool. But do you know how many assets they have that they need to, or items that they need to, like, actually make a few states of decay for? This is gonna take them a lot of time.
Like the Nomad and Light Outlaw you're seeing here, as well as many more we'll be showcasing later this year. It's part of a continuing effort to add more customization to what you wear in both the new stuff that's coming down the pipeline and what's already there in the persistent universe. And that customization also extends to a variety of tints that can be used for spawning armor variants within the universe, which you can see in some early explorations here. This will allow mission and location designers to specify specific variations of components and tints for different areas, or use procedural tools to randomly generate dozens and dozens of variations for each outfit. And when that gets extended to many of the outfits already within the universe, this will get us a far greater variety of things within the persistent universe than we have today. And oh heck, I know I said we were going to wait until our last big segment on Lorville in just a couple weeks once we return from hiatus, but let's go ahead and leave you with just a few shots of the absolutely fantastic work the lighting team is doing bringing this new Lorville 2.0 to life. Yeah, I'm gonna shut up and let several thousand words of images do the talking instead.
Is this concept art? Because it looks like concept art. It doesn't look like a 3D model. Especially because it's a fucking picture. Or their pictures. What's up, Rakumo?
So, what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that there are, as always, a lot of ships and vehicles in the pipeline, all scheduled to make their way to the persistent universe throughout the remainder of this year. That work to bring fauna to the persistent universe is back on the menu. That grasping weevil eggs are a thing, as is the continuing work to physicalize as many aspects of Star Citizen as possible. That locations, new and old, continue to be iterated on and improved upon, as do the tools our team members use to create them, and that boy howdy gee willikers, I'm pretty certain we're just gonna park the only constant outside Lorville at night for all of Star Citizen Live next quarter. Now, as we're at the end of this quarter, ISC is going on its regularly scheduled hiatus, but the work doesn't stop there. Next quarter, we'll be back with our final looks at Lorville 2.0 before it goes live in Alpha 3.19. We're gonna take a deeper look at the vast changes and improvements coming to Arena Commander after that, as well as the new derelict settlement towns, new player experience tutorial, a sequel to the buggy racetrack in Origin, but for Microtech, explorations of the new ships and vehicles arriving at this year's Invictus launch week, a discussion with superstar concept artist Gavin Rothery about envisioning more ships for Star Citizen than anyone else alive. We're going to look ahead to a whole bunch of new features coming in Alpha 3.20, and then of course continuing our journey to 4.0 here and there along the way.
Journey to 4.0,
It's been one
Jesus
hell of an
Christ.
8
Okay.
years, and the last 4 of them bringing 150 episodes of this show to you has been a blast. And we're still getting better at doing so each and every week. Now, I can say that because I'm not talking about myself. I'm referring to the talents and work of Will, Dave, Alex, Casey, Jill, Stephanie, Amanda, Caroline, Tom, David, Luke, Justin, Jake, Vicky, and now Mercy. Welcome to the team, who have all made this last year the best one yet. Thanks for putting up with me, and here's to another 150 more. Oh, and if you've noticed and liked the 10 different memes that have been here on the screen all quarter,
What about
we'll be
the journey
releasing
to
to the
finish
social
318?
media later this
Yeah.
week. I can tell you they make great phone wallpapers. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for watching. Thanks for 150 episodes, and we'll see you back here in about a month.
You know what? Do you know, Rakumo, that the thing that you're playing right now is copyrighted, and I can't post this on YouTube now. Like, how the fuck is that copyrighted? How the shit is that copyrighted? Hopefully, I will be able to put the whole thing on YouTube. Yeah, this is not for some rip. I love you, Rakumo. What is this? This is just like... Oh, this is them having fun and making 3D animations of us dying to elevators. Sure. Okay. Sure. All right, since this is probably gonna go on YouTube as a separate video, I gotta end it as a YouTube video. So we're gonna continue after this. So thank you for watching, and I don't know what to tell you. I guess they went on a hiatus. They're not gonna release any more ICs. I haven't watched this last week when I was supposed to, because yeah, everything is dying. My PC is dying, so I'm trying to get a new one. That's why we didn't have any videos in a while. So with that said, if you want to support me, and thank you for supporting me on Patreon and being a YouTube member, and if you want to support me, there's like the YouTube member thing there. There we go. It's dying. It's dying. Is the mic working? It is. Come on, thank you. So thank you to all my patrons and the YouTube supporters. I love you guys. So if you want to support me to get a better PC, the link is down in the description. You have a YouTube button. Super chat is on this side. If the camera works, then you're gonna see it. And yeah. And then on top of that, you have merch. I think this is one, like, I should have made a 40K crew, because most people are having the same, like, that issue now. It's not a 30K issue anymore. I mean, it is, but not that much. Most people can't even fucking join the game. But yeah, if you like the merch, just check out the merch store. You don't need to buy anything. If you want to support me, this is the best way for you to get something in return, I guess. But yeah, thank you for watching, and don't forget to bring a towel when you're traveling through space, and goodbye, and the camera is still alive. Jesus Christ.